Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you step by step how to make a clay trinket dish to make it look like a realistic Jose Buono leaf. This is a comprehensive guide to make these leaves, starting from sculpting, painting, and then sealing them with resin. So let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nastaransart. I've been asked several times how those are made, and it's so hard to describe in words, so I decided to do a tutorial. And there are so many other ways of making it, but I'm just going to go over what my techniques are and how I do it. When I started doing this, it was really difficult to find anything on YouTube that I could, model from. There were a few things, but it didn't have those specific things that I needed to make my leaves. I'm a big plant lover and I'm also an artist, and it was just natural that I wanted to combine those two together, and that's how the idea was born. So I figured you want to know what does my finished product look like, so I thought I'd show you. Oops, sorry. To share with you, I better not break it before I even start. My most popular one that I make is my Monstera album, and this is what the back of it looks like. Back of all of them basically look like this. Strawberry Shake, the name kind of escaped me for a second. Strawberry Shake, Pink Princess, Friedic, Gloriosa, Begonia Escargot, Red Spot Tricolor Syngonium. This is my White Princess, Monstera Aurea, Variegated Alocasia, Red Marantha Calathea, this Clarinervium, and what was the name? Cesis Discolor. So, you want to get started? Let's do this. So we're going to talk about the tools you're going to need to sculpt your clay leaf. And this is all the things that I use. I will go over each of them so you can understand what they are. The clay I use is called dust. Can be easily found on Amazon or Michael's or Joann's or anywhere else online. I get mine from blick.com, and if I buy more than just a few, I get a discount. So by the way, I'm not sponsored by them. It just happens to be the clay I prefer. Another primary thing that you're gonna need is this silicone sheet. These are silicone sheets, and they're very pliable and soft. The good thing about them is that they don't stick. You can easily separate it. I found them on Amazon, and I would put a link below for you to find it. And no, I'm not sponsored by them either. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just doing my thing. So when you open your dust package, this is what it looks like. And you need to cut some in order to make your project. The easiest way I have found was use any kind of knife. It doesn't matter how sharp it is, as long as you can go through it, because it's very soft. You can basically cut it with anything. You can even tear it up by hand. But just to have it nice and neat, I use my kitchen knife that's dedicated to using clay. And that's what I cut mine with. After you condition your clay, you're gonna need a roller or something that is in this shape. It could be a pipe, it could be a bottle. I found it easier just to use a bakery type roller to roll it and have a smooth surface. And let's say I have spread the clay now. Now I need to cut my shape out of it. What I use is an X-Acto knife. And again, if you choose to do it with this, you can. Or any kind of sharp object. You can even do it with just a regular skewer or toothpick. Now I have cut my shape and I want to make those grooves that I need to make. For example, all these grooves, they have to be squeezed into, imprinted on top of the clay. And I have developed a technique where if I don't have the actual leaf, I use a print of it, like this monstera. And I lay it on top of the clay and I try to imprint it using just a good old pen. It could be a pencil, it could be anything that you could use with a fine tip to imprint it. I will go over that in a much more detail when I'm actually doing a video for you to show you exactly how, but just for an introduction and also telling you what I use this for. It doesn't even need to have the sharp point. I just use it to squeeze it on. You will see later. Another tool I use after, let's say, I'm done with this, tracing. Now I need to make deeper grooves, and this is the tool I use to do it. They're really cheap. You can find them in any art supply store, or you can use the end of a chopstick, for example. This I use for doing finer lines. Let me show you an example. Like these two needed something that I could use to make really fine lines. Not sure if you could see it. And that's what I was using. This is a dotting tool. Again, easily found anywhere. And what I do with it is use it to make like an indentation for, I'm not sure what this middle part is called. For example, begonias. Most begonias have this groove in the very middle where all the veins meet. And that's what I use to make that little groove. This is just a regular straw. I only use it when I'm trying to make a leaf that has holes in it, such as a monstera. So this is what I actually use to make this big hole. And for the small hole, that's what I use to do that. And now I have made all my imprints that I want. I have to smooth out the edges of the leaf I just sculpted. So I put some water in any container and dip my finger and use my finger to smooth out all the surfaces around the edges. What I've been using is just a little container, a plastic container I got from the 99-cent store, and I store all my things inside it. So next time I'm ready to do a leaf, I just grab and go. There are two ways of doing this. One would be if you had an actual leaf, and then you can put it on top of clay and you can cut around it. Another way that is commonly used by me is to figure out a way to trace that leaf onto the clay. So today I will be doing a leaf. I'm trying to make it look like a Jose Buono. So what I do is just Google Jose Buono plant leaf, and as you can see, there's lots and lots of pictures on the internet. I'll find one that I really like. I print it out, and then I basically put it right on top of the clay and trace it. But of course I need to find a leaf that is perfect, in my opinion, as far as shape and the size of it goes. If it turns out after I print it that it needs to be bigger or smaller, then I just adjust my printer and I get the size that I exactly want. Most of my leaves that I make are about 6 to 7 inches, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but that's the size I want them. Just to show you, as you can see, I have lots and lots of copies because I make lots and lots of leaves. So this is the one that I'm gonna be going with. I use this to trace it. So for today's purpose, we're gonna make this. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it. First thing you need to do is to determine how much you're gonna need. And you don't have to be exact. just approximately. After you do it a couple of times, you have a good idea how much you need. I always try to go more than I need because you can always take away what you can't add in the middle of, rolling it out. And you need to condition it. Oh, something I forgot. You always take your ring off if you have one, because it will get stuck all inside it and it won't be pretty. I don't use any gloves because I need dexterity in order to do all this, but it's washable. After you're done doing what you need to do, then you can wash your hands. It comes right off. It's water soluble. In order to condition it, sometimes you have to roll it. Maybe 2-3 times if you have to. It all depends how fresh the clay is. Okay, as you can see, I'm getting some bubbles here, so we need to pop them. And you can use any tool really, and then roll right over it. And my touch tells me a little bit thinner. Sometimes you get these ripples here. You can take some water and smooth it out, but I have found that they're actually good when you're making a leaf. No leaf is exactly smooth, so this is not a bad thing. I like to leave mine the way. Okay. I can feel that the entire shape of this Buono is on top of the clay. Nothing is off of it or anything like that. So I just trace it. As you can see, I don't, dig in, otherwise the paper will have a hole in it. Try to keep everything right on top of the clay so it doesn't move. Went a little too deep and it put a hole in the paper. I am ready to cut around the clay, and I am using an X-Acto knife right now, but any sharp object can be used. It could even be a butter knife because it can dig into the clay and cut it. But I find it most useful to use the X-Acto knife. I peel off the extra clay and I store it back in that plastic bag for a later use. I am ready for a little bit of water to dip my fingers in to smooth out the edges of the clay here. And I'm also using my tool to dig into those veiny areas because I feel that they're too shallow. I like them to be a little bit more deep, so when I'm in the painting mode, it would look really good. So that's what I'm doing here. I am ready for putting my clay in a place where it could dry. And the best way I have come up with is just a bowl, any bowl, and I put a layer of saran wrap in it, which is very pliable. I make sure there is a dip in there, like a curve inside that bowl on top of the saran wrap, and I lay my clay leaf over it in a way that you could tell it looks like a trinket dish, kind of bowed. And if I don't like the way it looks, I just adjust the saran wrap to make it as deep or as shallow as I like it. It takes a little bit of getting used to get that exact shape you want. And then I'll take it outside and I put it under the sun. I know they say not to do it because it cracks, but I'm here to tell you it has never cracked on me before, so this is my personal experience. About 3 days later, it should be nice and dry. So I check it out, and yes, it's very, very dry. And it is ready for the next step, which is sanding it. We are ready to sand all the jagged edges here. And what I do is I get the sanding sheets from Home Depot or Amazon, and you cut it to pieces so it's easily handleable. And I scrub it around the edges until it no longer feels sharp. We are ready to paint. This is always so exciting. So in order to figure out what am I going to paint it like, I always Google the certain leaf that you are thinking about. In this case, Jose Buono. I copy several examples of different leaves so I can look at them and get inspirations from. And I keep it in front of me. When I paint, I just try to either copy it just like that picture that I have, or just to get an idea. I usually start the painting by blocking the darkest green parts of that leaf. For that purpose, I'm using classic green and black together to make it darker, and I just block sections of the clay leaf and do it on all four. By the way, the reason I'm doing 4 is it's just easier. If you're doing 1, you have extra paint, you do all 4. And I usually need more than 1 layer of that green paint, because if I don't, then the white from the clay just bleeds through. Remember, this is your art, and you do what you want with it. The exact color and shade of the green is up to you. You can use turquoise if you feel like it. So here I'm putting a second layer of that dark green on to ensure no white is bleeding through. So the next paint I'll be using is the same dark green that I'm using, except I'm going to mix it with Liquitex iridescent medium. What it does basically is it turns any paint into metallic paint. It just adds particles of metallic, whatever it is inside it, which is very useful if you can't find an exact shade of metallic paint that you are looking for. So I put it on all my green areas. Now here I'm trying to create yet another shade of green, and I do that by adding a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green gold from Treasures. And based on whatever you decide, just put it in different areas of the leaf. There are many shades of green that goes in a Jose Buono. If you look at the picture, I have a tendency to really study every leaf that I'm going to do, just to see what are the natural patterns that you put on. What are the natural colors? How many are there? So I really look at those before I start a painting. As usual, I have to put 2 different coats on it just to make sure. And then here I put a little bit of white in there also to create yet a lighter shade of that same green. Jose Buono also has some areas that are completely white. So in these leaves, I'm going to leave a little bit of that area also. as you can see, I forgot to put it in all my leaves, but I went back with just white paint and I painted it on. That little patch of white really does make a difference, and it makes it look so beautiful, especially in Monstera albo leaves or any other kind of multicolored green leaf. What I'm doing here is to paint final details on each leaf. If you look closely on a Buono leaf, you will see a lot of little patches of green or white or all the other green variations of different colors, and they look like little dots and little patterns, little slashes. So that's what I'm applying here. I have saved all my paints that I have painted with, and I am painting them on random areas. Again, if you need inspirations, look at a real picture and you will be able to figure out where to put these little dots, but just randomly will do. After I complete all the little patches and dots, what I do is paint the trimmings, which means in the little area on the sides of the leaf, I put some gold or silver trimming. I think gold looks better with the color combination, but of course it's your preference. You painted whatever color you want. If you just wanted green, that's fine too. After I painted this one gold, I tried to paint 2 of them silver and 2 of them gold. The gold paint I'm using is in a little bottle, and the brand is Lumiere True Gold 550, and I'm also using the silver. Any gold will do. It's really based on your preference. The only reason I'm using this Lumiere is because it has a thicker consistency, which means I only need to use 1 or 2 layers of it. Well, hello again. This is the next day after painting these clay leaves, and usually by this stage I'm about ready to cover them up, seal them up with the resin. But I was thinking of doing something in addition to what I usually do. I have used some watercolor, metallic watercolors from Yuli before. And no, I don't get sponsored. I have used it before and I really liked it. I do paint rocks as well. And I don't know if you can see this shimmery area around the moon and on the mermaid's tail. It really does work well. These metallic watercolors are beautiful and they turn out gorgeous. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. So I was thinking it maybe just does the same thing to the leaves. So with that said, I like to give it a shot. But just to let you know, I originally bought these from her and I was really happy, but I needed some more varieties of colors, and these are buttons, they call them. They're for testing to see if you like them, so you can purchase a bigger size if you feel like it. And they come in all kinds of different colors. She's on Etsy if you like to find her. For this purpose today, I think I'm going to use this one. I put a tester here, just use this color, and I didn't just cover the whole thing up with that, but I just put a little bit here, a little bit there to test it out and see how it will turn out once I resin it. When you resin it, it just pops. Everything metallic in here would be twice as much noticeable. So I'm really hoping it would turn out as good as I think it might. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and start. So to use these, what I have learned is you get your paintbrush wet to the point that you can probably see a drop of water accumulated at the tip of it. Then you kind of put it on top of the paint. I'm not sure if you can see, but some shimmering or sizzling of colors start to happen. You get just a few seconds, and then I'm going to just randomly put it here and there. Okay, now I'm gonna test this color. Remember I said I'm ready to resin after it dries? Well, I lied. Okay, I've had this, it's called Stickles. It's glittery glue that I have had for a long time, but I never really did anything with it. So the idea just came to me, what if I try it? So I'm gonna do it. So I kind of got started and then I forgot, hey, I gotta record this. So as you can see, I put just a tiny bit of accent around these borders between green or different shades of green, and I'm kind of liking it. So I'm gonna do it to the other leaves as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to watch part 2 for the completion, resin application, and also reveal. Take care of yourselves, and I see you in the next video. Now, please don't think you have to have this in order to paint these leaves. These are just some suggestions of different paints that I use that you might like. I wanted to say thank you so very much for watching, and please don't forget, if you want to see the rest of it, to watch the second part of this tutorial video. Take care of yourselves and never stop creating.